Good morning, everybody. It's Matt, and welcome to Each Beautiful Day. I'm about to go and see Dyan, but I thought I'd start the conversation out here, by the front door, entering into our apartment, and have a conversation with you, which is really a conversation that I've just actually had with Dyan for the very first time. And I found something new. And it's interesting because I've been Dyan's partner for probably 33 years. And it's quite interesting, and I think it's my engagement with her for her autism that I've taken so long, particularly in the medical area, decades, to learn so much of the nuances of her past stories, past history. And this morning, we're having a conversation off-field as you do. And the reason why I started by the door was I want you to think about what is it like to enter into your home for the first time and suddenly there's a strange man there. Strange people there. Imagine if you're only 12 years of age and you were doing that. Probably be a little bit offsetting, confusing, frightening. And this is really where the conversation started. Hello, miss.
Good morning.
Good morning to you as well.
Morning.
I thought we'd just do a bit of a chat about our little situation of what we're just having the conversation because I'm sometimes just blown away. And blown away too because for Dyan, the complacency, I guess, or the dismissiveness is that, and you're exactly right, you didn't know different.
No.
But let's actually get back to the actual...
You only have one life.
Let's get back to the story. I've set the scene of walking into a house and suddenly there's a strange man, strange people you weren't expecting. But where did the story actually start from? You were talking about when you were about 12 years of age and you were playing with your friends across the road.
Yeah, 12 turning 13, so it's year 8.
Year 8, okay. In Australia.
Yeah, in Australia. And where we lived, I had really good friends across the road. 2 girls across the road, and we were just, like, in those days, guys, you didn't have the internet. You played outside, and you played in each other's houses. And, of course, my house was no good to play in. For many reasons that I won't even go into at this point, but you know, I'd always be at their place, and I was very welcomed because I was a good kid. Mm-hmm. Being autistic, you know,
well managed,
you play by the rules, and I was very raised with politeness, but anyway, I was playing with them and having a great old time as I normally do. We'd been to the beach.
Okay, so the beach day.
So
surprise, pool girl over here.
Australia. So one of them was in the surf club.
Okay.
So been to the surf club, down at Mullaloo, you know, surf club.
Yeah.
And basically had a great day. Bonfire was awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got home and it was dark. They lived across the road, and even though I was back in those days, it was actually better then because precautions were taken. So the dad and one of my friends took me across the road to walk me home.
Escorted you home.
Yes.
Sensible, to make sure you were safe.
So they got me to my garage, and they said, "Will you be okay from here?" The dad said, and I said, "Yeah, I'll be okay," because I felt okay.
Because you're expecting what, your parents or your brother?
I thought
to be
no,
home?
I didn't expect my mum to be home because she had a new boyfriend, and of course I didn't exist anymore. But I knew my brother would be home.
Okay.
I thought my brother would be home. But of course, he's suffering this too alongside me. So think of that too. He's only 2 years older than me. But anyway, so I walk in the normal door that I walk in, which is through like the garage, which goes to the laundry. And there's a big hallway. So you go past my bedroom, my brother's bedroom, the bathroom. You walk into the laundry, through all this to get to the first lounge room. So I do this. So I'm just walking in and I've got bathers on with just a jumper. So I'm not even dressed like really, really, really well because I've been at the beach all day. A bit
exposed,
so it's a little bit exposed. But I'm walking home from the beach.
Into your own safe environment.
With my friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So I walk inside, and anyway, they would probably just walking back home.
The dad and your friend crossing the road back to the house. Yeah.
I walk in, and I literally get to the end of the hallway, and in the sitting room, which is where the first lounge room is, and there's a TV, and there's a like a L shape of chairs, and there was 2 strange men and 1 strange lady. And the strange man was smoking in the house, so it stunk.
Right.
Now, I didn't think much of that because my mum at the time smoked, so I thought when I smelled smoke that it was her.
Yep.
Anyway, walk in. They smoked inside in those days, guys. This is the 80s, okay? Old. So I walk in, and so I start shaking, and I go non-verbal. And
Because you're non-verbal autistic when you're not feeling comfortable.
yes. So, you know, they said to me, "Hi, your mum's out." I'm just standing there, like, trying to digest
Like a stuffed mother, basically.
faces, the
Who are these
situation. I was in total shock.
No familiarity, no faces that you recognise, no names. You weren't expecting this. Who are these people? Where's mum? Where's the boyfriend? Where's your brother?
No one else was there.
What'd you do?
So I went to my brother's room, poked my head in. Very simple and easy to see. Straight away, he wasn't there. I didn't want to go past them to go to my mum's room to check if she was here, but they'd said to me, she's not. So I'm like, well, why would they lie? So I just walked straight back the other way. And I remember them saying, weird, as if I'm a weird kid. Anyway, I walk back out and I run across the road and I called out to the dad and to my friend. I was like, Shelby. And I can't remember the dad's name, I'm sorry.
Wasn't Dylan.
No. And
Sorry to tell people.
basically, you know, they come back.
Yeah.
And
you explained to them what?
And I said, there's strange people in my house. And the dad's like, what do you mean? Where's your mum? No, like, you know, you don't know them? I'm like, and this went on for ages. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I'm not exaggerating. Now, this is natural for them to think that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because why would they think that a mum would put a little girl who's 12, turning 13, and I was tiny, I was autistic, I was naive, I didn't look my age, basically. I would have, my friend was 11, no surprise. I play with kids younger than me. And basically, I looked less than my age. I acted less than my age. So anyway, for ages this is going on. I'm like, can you please come inside with me and help me get them out? Because here I am thinking as a kid, they need to get out of my house.
Yeah, they shouldn't be here.
And I need my mum.
Yeah.
Like, although I was kind of angry at my mum at the same time. So it's very conflicting when you're a child of neglect and abuse.
And what was the anger for specifically?
I was angry at my mum because it's like she didn't tell me that
so
people were going to be in my
house when you
home.
got home.
And I've not been introduced to them.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't safe.
Okay.
I knew that. Strange danger.
So what did the dad across the road do?
So he immediately he goes, no worries, I'm coming across now. And he said, Shelby, you stay back here. So he didn't let his daughter come near it. Respect that. And he told me to wait as well, way behind in the hallway. And he goes straight up there. And I'm listening to him and watching him. And he says, hey, who are you guys and why are you in her house? Where is her mother? And I could feel this. He wasn't aggressive, but he was very firm.
Firm, assertive.
He was very much, this is not okay. And anyway, this man said, I'm the new boarder. And he had an attitude. I remember that. And I remember the dad saying, hey, this girl does not know you. Please, like, something to the effect of don't have this attitude or something.
Right,
you know?
so he was being
because he was being entitled, like, well, I've moved in like a boarder. I mean, got my rights to be here. So the dad says, look, do you know where your mum is? And he came back to me, right? Because obviously these people were young, immature, and just being pathetic. And they were drinking and smoking. Now, sadly, this isn't the first time I've been in this situation. I've been cared for by babysitters that have drunk and smoked when I was very young. I've been left home alone a few times from as young as 9. as punishment because I didn't come home in time. And obviously my mother had to go out. She was a single mum at the time. And it was my fault. Because the rules are when the street lights come on, you go home. Must have been a little bit late. Anyway, so I, had this conversation with the dad, and it had to be decided that, well, he did offer me to come to their house and that he would check and they would check to see when my mum got home.
Yeah, I assume.
And I was like, isn't this silly? Do you want to burden them? So I said, no, I'll be okay. I wasn't okay.
What feelings does that evoke for you right now, even?
It makes me sad that my mum got away with all this, and
you're put into that position.
Yeah, like it's just wrong that, like, these are the things that I suffer. Even just talking about it, but these are the things I suffered growing up, not knowing any different, guys. So you've got to understand, I don't know what I missed. I don't know anything different. I'm not a victim. Please know that. But my mum did this, and everyone always has supported her in the family. And it disgusts me because it makes me sad now because I'm not that little girl anymore. It makes me sad that she was that bad to me, yet she gets all the glory, and I'm this black sheep because I was the difficult child, meaning I'm autistic, guys. I didn't speak. I had developmental delays, educational problems.
A very low level of autism.
Very, very high maintenance autistic child.
So the dad did give you a choice to be able to come back to his house, but you felt the burden. You didn't want to burden him, in other words.
Because I was at their place a lot, because,
overstay your welcome.
Yeah, because I was at their place a lot because
this is the relationship.
This is what happened from starting from that age group. Was my mum had her own life with her new man, and I was left out. I wasn't welcomed along. I wasn't included. And I know that sounds silly, but to me, I thought it was normal because I was always raised to think that I was always older than what I was, as in responsibility-wise, right? I thought that it was okay to be home alone. But when I had my own children, that I quickly learned, no, it's not okay for children to be alone. But no, I stayed and I just went to my bedroom.
So who came home first? Was it the brother or your mum?
I don't remember.
You don't remember at all? You don't know how long it was?
I don't remember. I've literally...
You shut down, basically.
Yeah, something must have just shut me down because I remember going to the kitchen because I was thirsty and getting something from the kitchen and going to my room. And I just don't remember...
Did they engage any further to you?
No, they were acting like it was their house.
Right.
And I was so angry because this man was smoking in... Because my mum would smoke in different zones of the house, whereas this was our lounge room, if I explain it that way. Yeah. This lounge room was where, me and my brother would watch TV, for example.
Personal space again.
Yes, that was our personal space. Whereas my mum would be there either with us or she'd be doing things around the house on her own. So it was very unusual. And there was 2 lounge rooms too.
So first of all, one of the interesting uptakes was, first of all, the dad came back to you and saying, the person said that they're a boarder. That means they're now staying at your house. So
Correct.
Were you told?
No.
So before this even occurred, you weren't told that there's, hey, look, I'm going to be looking for boarders. There's going to be some people who are going to look.
No, I only knew what a boarder was because we just had one leave.
Right.
Not so long, I guess, before this one came in.
Yep.
So no, I wasn't told.
So there's no communication. You weren't prepared for it.
No. And when I got mad at my mum, whether it was the day after, whether it was that night, I don't know. But I said to my mum, "Why didn't you tell me? I was scared."
Question. Yeah.
And I think she had some attitude of why would you be scared if I've organised it or something like that? That's what she's like. And also I was told, well, this is the new boarder, And that probably was put onto me with finances, you know, like, well, this is financially what I have to do as a mum. And it's like, okay, but I'm a child. And the financial burden of the household is not my responsibility. However, it was very much like just blame onto me.
But there's no
of accepting it because this is our financial situation.
Being prepared for it. So with autism, it's really useful to prepare you for any change that occurs.
Any child.
Absolutely. No. The actual integration of it, there wasn't your mum being there to say,
it was
hey,
a
this
man.
is Dave, this is a new boarder.
Hang on. Yeah. I'm a mum and I've got sons. I don't even have daughters. And it's not even just daughters you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Would you ever do that to your son even? No. A strange man in your home and you leave knowing your daughter's going to come home.
Yeah. With his own friends now, partying, drinking, smoking, drugs, sort of rest. And look, you saw the reaction from the dad across the road who was totally in shock.
He didn't want me to stay.
He didn't.
But of course he couldn't force me to. Yeah. But he was very, very concerned. I look back now, being an autistic person,
hindsight to be able to look back and look at these situations, isn't it?
Yes. But I look back now and I'm like, he was not happy with me staying at all. No.
And it's interesting also just the complacency, I guess, you have because it's become so normalised.
Well, I've had so many things happen to me. I spent a lot of time alone. I remember being so alone in that house particularly that I'd sit out the front when no one was sort of available to, you know, hang out with or whatever in the street. We had a lot of friends in the street, luckily. But I'd sit out and there was this flat little spot and I'd sit out there and do little bits of weeding in the pavement of the bricks, you know, just waiting for something to happen, you know.
Self-entertain yourself, basically.
And I didn't have a lot of things to play with because the poverty, basically.
Which is why you didn't have your friends come across to your house or your room to play.
Well, also because of my developmental delays, as punishment for wetting the bed, it wasn't changed. My bed wasn't changed.
Right.
So I would pull my blankets over it, but you could still know, and you know what I mean. And so, no, I would not bring people over.
No, of course not. I get that.
I would try and make them wait.
Yeah, you're trying to preserve your dignity.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I was embarrassed. And, I mean, even these friends, and yes, they are friends, and yes, even to today, I could turn up to that house, because I know that the mum still lives there, because I've bumped into them before.
Yeah.
And they've said, you know, you're in the area, pop in and see me. Yeah. I'm still at that house, you know. But basically, it's like...
Because they have fond, loving memories of
yes, we had great times together. I became sort of like, I guess, an extra child, you know. Yeah. And we played and played and played, had great, great experiences together. Just, you know, as kids, you know, playing with the CB radio, sleeping on the front lawn, in sleeping bags and waking up to sprinklers. You know, that's fun. But basically...
but you would have found it hard because you had so much displacement. Now, that would have only been maybe a short period of time for a year or two before you move again, or move again, or move again.
Yes, so I was never at one place for longer than 1 year. Right. If it was 1 year, it's like, wow, we've been here a year. That's incredible. No, we moved on again.
That's very hard change for transitions for autistics particularly.
Yes.
Because you're having to get reclimatised,
build up third marriage as well. There was a third marriage just about to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's a big deal. And then another half sibling, which I never got to bond with. That's overwhelming for an autistic.
Yeah.
And especially when they don't integrate you. I don't feel I was ever made to feel that I was like equal to that child, because that child was being catered for. That's a good thing, but I wasn't.
It's interesting the word
I was pushed aside as if like, now you've got to, I've got this baby now, you've got to do your thing. And I'm like, what was it? The first one was 12. So I'm like, well, don't hand me this baby. I'm 12. You know, like I'm used to my cousins because I grew up with them.
Yeah, sure.
And those aunties and uncles never used to leave me to just hold the child. They would be there and put the child in my arms, sit down.
God, with your clumsiness and dyspraxia.
Yeah. But basically, with my father and mother, who first half sibling was when I was 12. I was way too young to understand. It didn't feel like it was my sibling. It didn't make sense to me, right? I grew up in the era where everyone's parents were married, stayed together. And so then you've got when I was 16, it was like, well, this is like, I was ecstatic that I had a sister, and because she lived with me, I got to have that couple of years of a great bond. But then there's nothing after that. Because I'd moved out, because, 16, I moved out at 18.
Yeah.
Because of the abuse, basically. It was still physical. So I moved out, but basically it's like I felt pushed out. They were never home. I was always on my own. And because there was a baby to be cared for,
Yeah. But that's a big...
I was pushed aside.
See, that's a big thing.
So I felt like I wasn't a child anymore, but I was a child.
Yeah.
I was a child. I was still 16 and needing guidance, but Mum was always like, I've got the baby. I've got the baby. I've got the baby.
Slow it down for a sec. All of these things happened while you were a child. That's the first thing. You were left...
As it's been explained to me by professionals.
Yeah, but you're left alone so often.
I didn't know
really
wrong and
hard.
right.
I mean, look, I know you want you like your alone time.
Yes. Well, I used to watch Star Trek and then flick it across to something else when someone turned up.
Don't want to show them that you're a Star Trekker.
Didn't want to show. So sorry, Jessica. There is no shame in Star Trek, but I'm just saying I was made to feel because I was a girl. It was like, why are you watching that? You're a girl. Well, I'm autistic. And for all those people that think autism is just a trend with people who can function like I can as an autistic, I was diagnosed before it was a trend on any social media existed. Okay? So please just take that one and leave that alone. I was an extremely severe autistic as a child. Actually,
there's a lot of other little things done out of this, which is interesting. One is your intense...
I've come a long way.
You should pat yourself on the back because it's your own personal achievements.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Hard way.
All of that. And look, socialization, social engineering is difficult for an autistic in the first.
You just follow everyone else like a fish. It kind of works.
Absolutely, it does work that way.
But at the same time, I spent a lot of time alone, guys. Yeah. Don't think that I had people just... And you know what's really stupid? Okay? And this is where this... I don't consider myself beautiful, but the beauty effect. Let me talk about that. It's not linked to someone being a supermodel, so don't take the extreme of that. Someone who maybe just looks normal to other people. I was told by girls at every different school I went to, you can play with us because you're pretty. That is sick. But that is how... A
criteria for fitting in.
That is how it is with girls, little girls growing up, obviously. Apparently. I'm autistic. I don't see it that way. I hung out with whoever I connected with special interests, etc.
Yeah, activities that you like to do. In your story, it was interesting because one of the things I said as I was coming down the hallway and before we even started the story, 33 years or more I've now known you. It's very interesting to me sometimes, it's little snippets that I suddenly get a glimpse of and then I find out it's like, wow, some of these things really hit me. Okay.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Along the way, I mean, look, I've got it's the iceberg here, people. The accumulation of all these little anecdotes, but even just listening to you as you're recounting the story here, your intensity of being able to recall and remember, the exact diametrics of the room and the house.
I have a photographic memory, a didactic memory, guys, which came in very handy at university, except when I'm reading my notes in my head that are at home, I'm going, oh, liquid paper, highlighter.
Yeah, page 86.
Yeah, I've got that kind of memory. And you know what? It's wonderful, but it's also not. But it does help. It does help.
But it's the part that you just said, and then it's also not. Because
it can be not.
OCD, is that part of that cycle of retention?
OCD, I have cyclical thoughts, which was explained to me of my style. Everyone has a different OCD, guys. Like OCD presents differently. And I do think that OCD, because it's connected to ADHD and autism now, they're saying that 70% have ADHD or ADD. It's like, I'm not surprised because I think my OCD happened because of compensating for my executive functioning struggles. I used to pack my school bag, never packed by my mother, never assisted by my mother from day one, guys. I had to learn how to do all that. So what I used to do is pack my bag the night before.
Yeah, in preparation.
How clever is that?
What I was really impressed with is that you actually took the action point in the situation to actually go back across the road and ask for help from Shelby and the dad.
I think because the hallway was there, it was kind of so easy to turn around and run back. But I was frozen for a while.
So
I don't know how long. I know that with shock, you don't know time. It's a psychology thing, guys. You can't record time. So please don't be hard on yourself if you've had a traumatic situation. And trauma is a continuum. So trauma can be low end and high end. So I've had all of them. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff that I've actually endured.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to say, like, this to me was a mild trauma, just to give you an example. But I'd say that because I felt safer than going that direction and staying, I felt safer to go back across the road. Even in the dark, I had to cross part of the road because I think they were at their driveway. So I still had to go from out of my house into the road.
Yeah.
Right? And our street lights back then were not very bright.
I'm glad that you did not only across the road and go to
It's very dark.
Rather than maybe coming out of the house and hiding, for example, while you're thinking maybe I'm going to wait outside for my parents to arrive because you didn't feel comfortable. But at least you took that option of going across the road to save people, which is a really big step, and glad you did that, to be honest. And I'm glad you got the support.
Yes, well, this family, you know, obviously I had a bond before this happened, guys. So maybe if they weren't close to me, I don't know the difference in what I would have done.
I think you've impacted yourself upon a lot of people, and people see your struggles.
I was close to all of them.
And see your family scenarios and experience.
They all knew because a lot of them would actually say it, and only now as an adult or as I became a parent have I looked back at these different age groups that my kids were. I'd look at my kid and go, wow, that kid could not handle that. And then why would they?
Yeah, why should they even?
How did I handle that? No, I didn't handle that. But anyway, that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. Interesting. So, you know, like...
That's really powerful because that's that validation part for you. That's that acknowledgement of you shouldn't be put into those circumstances.
Well, it still doesn't feel like that, though.
Safety, love.
It'll never feel like that for me, even though I've had a psychiatrist say, you know, like, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, but that's abuse. Guys, when you're developmentally held to tasks that are developmentally above your abilities, okay, that's abuse. So just know that. But no, like, I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't had the bond with that family. I had bonds with many families because they'd say things to me. Yeah. Hey, you know, like, do you want to stay with us and have dinner? And then, you know, I look back now and I go, that's probably why. Or, you know, so it's not sort of so direct. Of course, they're not going to be to a child. They're not going to say to a child, your mum is abusing you, neglecting you.
But in social engineering, you can't even at your age today, almost 50, you cannot pick up the nuances of what people truly mean by the intent of their actions. And I'm telling you a lot through social stories. Oh, this is what they meant and this is why they did their actions. So for you to be able to reflect and go, oh, perhaps that they were trying to look after you.
I thought they didn't know anything or see anything, but you've helped me see a lot of that. But also as an autistic child, you know what? It's kind of a plus because I had no understanding of what was going on. I had no understanding of what could have gone on. I had no understanding of how severe things were. I had no understanding of life. I was in a total state of confusion. I was trapped in my own head. I never had enough words at every age group to describe life, me, others. I never noticed others, which was a terrible thing, as you can imagine. In this social world, we are social animals.
And you certainly didn't have some sort of helicopter parent over you, protecting you, putting you in a bubble and making sure you...
I would have been diagnosed at 3 if I was... Because I know that many aunties particularly, and this will be because it's a female thing, they all had their bubbas. We were the first grandchildren, but their children weren't much beneath us, behind. So they were mums. And even before they were mums, they were maternal. Women are maternal, right?
And they can see developmental milestones.
They knew. And I look back, I know that now. And I know even like when they were treating me certain ways, even as a child, they achieved things with me. I mean, I guess it's like, it's pretty easy to do because my mother did nothing with me. She paid no interest in me. I just never felt like she ever loved me.
I'm sorry you had that.
So there was just never that relationship. A maternal bond is
she
was very
important.
distant from my brother and I. So I just kind of like, that didn't help an autistic because I was already struggling to integrate in this world, you know. Sure. I lived in a constant state of confusion.
And having having stability in family,
and then going to your dad's and having like, around that, do you want a drink? Important. Do you want food? And you're like overwhelmed by it because you're like, what do you mean you want? You want to contrast. It's not dinner time. Why are you offering me food? Yeah. The only meal I know is dinner. Okay. I don't know if I'm thirsty. Am I thirsty? Am I hungry?
Well, that interoception
Do I like that kind of cake? Do I like that kind of cake? No, I don't. And then I'm not speaking.
Yeah, it's very overwhelming.
And so they're like, as if like, is this kid like stupid? And sadly, I was punished for not speaking. Yeah. Because the R word is not something I'm not familiar with. Okay? I'm very familiar with it. And the stupid word, I know that well. I mean, it's my second name. That's what they'd call me. Yeah. And so it's autism, by the way, guys. But, and it was clearly autism, even back then, because many people showed concern.
Look, I'd like to say thank you for sharing this little snapshot and anecdote. It is a snapshot of your experience being an autistic at that time in that era, particularly.
Well, it's a combination of autism
here in Perth, and aged about 12, 13. It's
a combination of autism and, you know, neglect and abuse. I mean, I was physically punished for not being like my brother, which is neurotypical, and held to a higher standard, you know, that I couldn't meet, and that was known that I couldn't meet.
With your developmental, intellectual delays, how could you?
Let alone compared to other kids that were given like help, I got that from my aunties and uncles. You know, oh, she can't say that word. They'd teach me that word, or they'd do ABA. My mum would do informal ABA for her own embarrassment, which is disgusting. And I'll just say that. I won't even thank her for that. She did that because she was embarrassed, because she knew if she took me to a professional, she knew what I was going to probably be diagnosed with. And back then it would have been, guys, it wouldn't have been autism, it would have been retard. Okay? And I'm just telling you right now, that is her shame, not mine. Yeah. And even if I was diagnosed as a retard, it's not like I didn't know it. So it wouldn't have bothered me. I'm a different generation, but it would have been autism now.
And protections around that.
But I would have got the supports and protections, exactly. And basically, but no, like that's her shame. And just know there's a lot of autistics, even though we know better now about girls, even though all the studies in psychology were done on boys. Yep. But basically, even now, there are little girls going through what I've gone through, where their mothers just hate their autism too much.
Don't want to have to deal with it.
That they make their daughters appear normal. And all that does is just put the child in an abusive and neglectful situation. Like when you're having a meltdown and your mother comes towards you to go, well, if you're going to be violent, even though I wasn't being violent to another human being, I was treated with violence in return, because that was the corporal punishment in my household was normal. Yeah. That is not a way.
From being overstimulated by sensory issues.
Yeah. Overstimulated, probably changing routine, probably going on.
Or having surprisingly strange people in your house that you weren't even told about.
She would literally say, you are going to learn, change, and we're going to do more of it so that you learn it.
Great.
Well done. You can imagine the trauma as an autistic. Yeah. I didn't learn it. I kept getting traumatized by it, and I never adjusted. However, I'm sure I've got better coping skills because of it, but that's not the way to do it.
No. Look, guys, I do hope this is a bit of an insight and informing just an aspect
Autism
of
is not fun
autism and, like
for
I
some
said,
kids,
what
guys.
you went through to give you perspective.
And not every autistic parent is a good one. And I'm saying that not even just in my way, for my parents' style, even in some parents that don't let them explore more of who they are as a, struggling autistic. That's another different style. Then you've got ones that, like mine, that are out there, that just don't want to have their child spotted as anything to do with something's wrong.
Well, let's hope that labelling or the negativity associated to that is starting to lift as we become more aware and create awareness
And that's
education.
why I love so many parents on YouTube, and I support them in my list, as you see, because they give their children the appropriate level of exploration of the world,
experience.
but safe way for an autistic.
Safely,
they get to learn
with
skills,
support,
experiences in a safe way,
Yeah.
and that's how it should be.
And so you're not being punished for
And
that.
that's how I raised my autistic child, hence why he's so well functioning and achieved so much. But when you're not given that, and then you have like this world that's kind of saying, oh, autism's just a trend and there's all these people wanting to be autistic now. I reckon it's just as bad as the fake cancer people. Just ignore it, guys. That low percentage, stop acting like...
Stop tarring all with the same brush blows.
It's people that have and I think I've heard this a lot from... there was one particular parent that I heard talking, which I don't really support that parent in her style, because the way she mollycoddled her autistic daughter to the point where she claims that her daughter's autism is different, and it's a spectrum, so it's not different, and it's actually, she was very invalidating to any of us that can speak
those particularly
better,
high functioning,
might be working, might be high functioning. That actually,
recognize the challenges that
just
people
know
have.
that that's like really wrong, and don't ever take that on as an autistic who, just because you
might be doing better.
You worked so hard.
Yeah.
Just like every other autistic that might be lower functioning, higher than you functioning.
Yep.
You worked so much harder than a normal person
to cope in this neurotypical
to
world.
do that.
Yeah.
You went through phobias and fears that normal people don't have to overcome. To do a basic thing.
Yeah.
Don't ever let them take that from you.
Yeah.
Our learning, our experiences are so much harder. I still have to go to the shops with headphones on my head.
Yeah.
Not because I want to be seen as autistic, it's because I am, and it's because I struggle. And I know that I put those things on, and I go, now I can relax and just get my shopping done.
Focus on the task at hand. Look, Dyan, thank you so much. That was really
welcome.
Insightful. I hope you guys have got something out of it. Give Dyan a big thumbs up to help support and encourage. If you've got questions, comments, your own experiences, look, put them below.
Yeah,
We'd love to
share
hear
your experience,
from you. I'd love to hear your own
understanding.
feedback. If you think someone else might benefit from seeing this sort of content, please do share our channel with them. The
And
more
just
shares
know,
will
no
create
matter
awareness.
where you are on the spectrum,
Yeah.
your autism is seen by me, okay?
Yeah.
And I
Validation.
validate your struggles.
Yeah.
If you didn't have struggles, you wouldn't be autistic. And I know that the autistic struggles are sometimes so inside us, people don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. And look, maybe we should give them that benefit of the doubt of, okay, well, you don't know what we live like.
Yeah.
You see us doing well, and you
don't
say
make
that your
assumptions.
child's having it harder because they're showing it's harder.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they feel safer to show you that I can't do that, Mum.
Yeah, true.
Compared to me, imagine me as a child. I was not able to say to my mum, I
look
can't
at the
do that,
scenario
Mum.
that we've just expressed.
If I said I can't do that, Mum, I might have been, and I'm not talking about wooden spooned, I'm talking about being beaten.
Yeah.
So that is not the same as your child, perhaps, that might feel safe to show that vulnerability in their autism, to say, I can't do that, Mum.
Yeah.
Help me do that, Mum. Show me how to do that, Mum.
Very true.
Please
Right, guys.
know that.
We'll see you in
And
another
same with you
episode.
boys.
Real soon.
Same thing.
As well. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Bye.